4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's going on, Minnesota Vikings fans? Welcome to another episode of House Calls with Skoldoc, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. My co-host, as always, is Dave joining me. I think he's getting a little under the weather again. It's been a tough summer for you, my friend.
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, pray for me.
Always. But if you need me to carry it, just, I'll use my voice. I'll carry it. You can serve yours. It sounds like you got a bunch of questions for me anyway, so it sounds like I'll be doing a lot of the talking today.
Yeah. So, show I did earlier today, they talked about how they brought up Kirk Cousins in the Netflix quarterback thing and said if he had all the information, he might not have made the decision he made because he had no reason why he wanted to leave Minnesota other than the fact that he felt Atlanta was offering him security, like 2 years instead of the Vikings 1 year. But if he knew they were going to draft both teams were going to draft a high quarterback, what's your take on
that? Nothing exciting. It's just my take is that Kevin O'Connell and company have come in here and created such a good environment, such a good locker room. Kirk Cousins was a great player for the Minnesota Vikings. He fit in this locker room, and it came down to both of these teams offered me a deal. The Vikings were adamant that they were going to take a quarterback in the first round of the draft and that they were only going to give me essentially a 1-year deal to be a bridge quarterback. And the Falcons, on the other hand, offered me more time as their quote-unquote starting quarterback and essentially lied to him. So, dirty move by the Falcons. It is what it is. It's not necessarily that I feel bad for Kirk Cousins because he said himself that this is the league and you fight for your spot and things like of that nature. But, Kirk had a decision. He could have taken the Vikings deal. And one thing that he said, and I didn't see the episode yet, but I just saw clips of it. He said that the Vikings made the decision easy for him by not matching the Falcons deal. And I understand that Kirk made the best decision for him and his family at the time with the information that he had. I agree with that. But he could have taken a deal with the Vikings for lesser years. Being in a situation that he's in where he's made all the money in the world already, right? And you looked at the rosters. Do you want to take one lesser year with the Vikings to stay where you are, be comfortable and have a winning season, or do you want to jump into a Falcon situation that wasn't, that great? So my thoughts are that it sounds like he's got a little bit of regret in his decision. Hindsight's 2020, but I don't blame Kirk for the decision that he's made, and I don't blame the Vikings for offering the deal that they offered. I blame the Falcons for doing him a little bit dirty, I guess.
Yeah, my whole thought was at the time was he would have took less money with us if they guaranteed a second year, but I knew and which timetable wise would still work with the young quarterback, just not as what we wanted. I mean, I've always went along the lines as I want a new guy in 2025, and that's what we're getting. We're getting in 2025, and Kirk did take less money to come to us instead of the Jets. He took probably below market deal on the first extension, below market deal on the second, to where he was the 15th highest paid quarterback. And he just wanted 2 years. I think he just wanted 2 years. He would have did it. But it worked out for us. I feel moving on. I didn't feel I didn't feel like I got new information by anything. I know people were like, "Oh my God," No, this is not new information to me. So, and I love our situation where we're at. I will pay absolutely no more mind to it after the show.
I 100% agree with you. I was listening to Purple Daily today on my way home in Chicago traffic. And Judd played like this thought experiment, like, oh, well, what if he did come back on the Vikings deal? Well, then the Vikings don't take a quarterback in, the first round. I'm like, no, he's way off there. That's incorrect. The Vikings told Kirk Cousins, we are drafting a quarterback. Like, the Vikings knew they were drafting a quarterback. They positioned themselves to try to trade up as high as they could to assure themselves that they were drafting a quarterback, whether or not Kirk Cousins was signed. To me, the question was, how is that deal structured? Is it structured? I mean, he would have been paid more than Sam Darnold, right? So would that have affected the Vikings' ability to build as strong as a roster as they have right now going into this season, where the plan was to have JJ McCarthy take over? And I think the answer is
Probably
probably
not
yes.
this year. I think they would have had a similar. They would have. I think they had a similar roster last year because they still had $20 million left after all the free agency going into last year. But yeah, it would have affected this year.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is we probably wouldn't have Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave and Will Fries, right? Like
Yeah,
not all the dudes.
Yeah, yeah, we wouldn't. Yeah, we would probably had to shave like at least 2 or 3 guys off of that.
I think so too. So in hindsight, I'm kind of happy things went down the way that they did. And
And
I
that's
think
that's because I'm confident in JJ McCarthy. I think
yeah,
he's got a great future with us, so I'm not too worried.
I
But
agree.
I'm not letting him off the hook. I'm not saying, hey, if we don't make the playoffs, oh, that was just a learning year. No, we got the roster. He needs to step up. So I have pressure on JJ McCarthy. I feel like we got a Super Bowl caliber roster if he plays well.
Yeah. I think this is a fun thought though. Like, does Kirk Cousins have a better season than what Sam Darnold did last year if we brought Kirk back? I think Darnold probably had a better season than what we would have seen from Kirk, just knowing Kirk's health last year.
Shout out to a bunch of guys, Delton Vincent. What's up, man? Got D Woods, School State of Mind. What's going on? School Mafia, what's up? And Bob Swedes in the house. What's going on? A lot of you guys were on Rap's channel. We reunited. So that's great. Might bring him on our show here in the next couple weeks. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, good to have you guys. Let's talk some ball. If you guys have questions in the chat, fire them at us.
Yeah, I'm gonna be asking Skull Doc here a few questions. Kind of like expectations of who's gonna stand out, things like that. Kind of like the thumbnail says. So the first thing I was gonna say is surprise rookie that makes the team. So who do you think? This includes undrafted free agents.
Yeah, the first name that pops in my head, I have two names that popped in my head. Number one was Logan Brown, the undrafted free agent offensive tackle who had like a third or fourth round grade from Thor Nystrom and ended up falling for what we assume was character concerns. His relative athletic score is up there, man. It's through the roof. There was some character stuff. He got kicked off Wisconsin for, I think, fighting with teammates. So this is a guy who I think can make the offensive line as depth. Probably make the 53, but be that guy who's inactive for a few weeks, as long as they have the depth to keep him inactive. Maybe he's active for the first couple weeks if Darrisaw's sitting out as emergency backup. But that's my number one guy. And then the other guy I was thinking of is Silas Bolden as the punt returner. He's got legit juice. He strikes me as a guy who is kind of like Marcus Sherrills, like he's too small for the NFL, but he could legitimately be a great punt returner in the league. So that'll be a fun guy to watch in training camp and see if he stands out enough on the punt return team to force their hand and keep him on the roster.
I mean, that'd be my guy. Being able to make the team with other veterans and competition with actual veterans that are on the team and stuff to make a special teams to make it on special teams, especially when again, this roster stack, so it's really hard for rookie to stand out. What's up, rock and roll? School for life barber, most positive Viking fan I know. Great to have you guys, man. Now, next thing, I put the top 3 new players to contribute. Could be rookie, could be free agent. So the top 3 new players,
Okay,
that would have the most contribution to this team, kind of like Grenard did and Van Ginkel did and Cashman did.
okay.
Who's gonna be
I'm
be the
gonna
most contribution?
I'm going to cheat a little bit if that's okay, because rather than saying Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, Donovan Jackson, I'm going to group all of those guys into one addition. Okay. The new revamped interior offensive line, in my opinion, will make the biggest difference to the Minnesota Vikings as contributors in 2025, because they are going to revamp this running game, especially in the red zone, to play bully ball and actually allow us to run the football in third and short situations, fourth and short situations, and in the red zone. So if I had to pick one of those guys to pick the biggest impact, it's actually tough between Will Fries, who I think is going to be a dominant run blocker, versus Ryan Kelly, who I believe is a huge piece for JJ McCarthy to lean on in terms of pass protections and setting the offensive line from a mentality standpoint, just getting your T's crossed, your I's dotted before the ball is snapped. I think that's pretty big. Now, my second player, I'm going to say Javon Hargrave over Jonathan Allen, even though I want to group both of those guys together and cheat again. I think that Hargrave is going to be that pass rushing specialist in the middle that we've been waiting for years, since Sharif Floyd played for this football team. I think Jonathan Allen's going to be very good too, but Hargrave is that guy who wins quickly in the middle and can get that quick interior pressure.
Yeah,
And
I can
then
agree with that.
And then my third guy is going to be Isaiah Rodgers, who I think is going to come in and be your cornerback 2 from day one. And I trust Brian Flores from a player personnel evaluation standpoint. And he's really excited about this guy. And from everything we've heard from the beat reporters, and that was just mini camp and, mandatory mini camp and OTAs and things like that. But they just said that he moves different. Like, you can see this guy is smooth. He's sudden. He's going to be able to mirror receivers. He's not the biggest guy, but he's going to be in their hip pocket. And I think a guy like that, combined with Byron Murphy in the backfield, is going to set up for a nice 1-2 punch from the cornerback position.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree what you're saying with Javon Hargrave. I do think he was probably more of a explosive pass rusher. Yeah, it's. I mean, that's cheating, but it's good that you put all the alignment together.
Yeah.
But I do think that Kelly makes probably the biggest difference.
Okay.
Just because that's been our problem, is not having an anchor at center, and if he stays healthy, that goes a long ways to helping out this line, especially since Darisaw, and we could probably talk about that. Darisaw probably not starting maybe halfway through the season, and so now we're looking like who's going to take over left tackle. Is it that School?
Yeah.
Yes, Justin School. And I haven't looked into him, and I kind of want to do an evaluation of him in a future video here. But yeah, so I think he's going to go a long ways to solidifying this line. And I 100% agree with you on Isaiah Rodgers, and I'll probably bring him up in a future question here. So, what do you think of? Oops. God dang it. Okay. MVP on offense, and give me two. Give me two. The two highest candidates for MVP on offense.
I mean, you got to say Justin Jefferson, right? He's one of the best
That's
players
why I'm
in the
saying
NFL.
two.
Right. Like, you got to say Justin Jefferson. And if this season's going to go where we want it to go, we're hoping that we stay JJ McCarthy. But I won't go there for sake of trying to be interesting. Okay. Let me try to be a little flashy with this second MVP pick on offense. I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson. I think that the way that JJ McCarthy reads the field, lets the ball go in the middle of the field, likes to get the ball out quick, I think TJ Hawkinson is going to have a huge resurgence this year and probably finish as the tight end 1 or tight end 2 on the season. He's a very talented guy who I think we've forgotten that a little bit with just last year, how he missed the first half of the season recovering from his ACL. And then he came back and he clearly wasn't 100%. But he had a couple games where you could see the flashes of TJ Hawkinson, like in Chicago when he absolutely murdered the Bears. We don't win that game without TJ Hawkinson. So I think that him and JJ are going to absolutely eat this year. And you look back at JJ's tape at Michigan when he was throwing to Loveland, he loved throwing in the middle of the field to Loveland. And TJ is a better tight end than that guy. So I think he's going to be my MVP, albeit hoping that JJ McCarthy is the guy that we talk about at the end of the year is the clear MVP.
Yeah, I mean, those are good candidates. I would throw in, I'll cheat for you and throw in the combination of our two running backs.
Yeah.
It could be either or, honestly, if one has to step up for the other. But having Aaron Jones and TJ Hawkinson for JJ McCarthy might give you JJ McCarthy as an MVP of this offense. Justin Jefferson is still going to get double teamed, triple teamed. I really would love to see him break out and have like 15 touchdowns once, even if he gets 10 or 12 would be awesome. And but we also talked about how 116 catches for him this year is pretty reasonable. And in the last video that we did that no one watched, damn it. I don't know what it is with what it is with fantasy football shows. It's just nobody they do not stand out when you don't normally do that type of genre. I've done it before too, so it's like, God, we got 30 viewers. But hey, thanks for everybody for showing up. I got new people I haven't seen. I appreciate you guys showing. Don Owen, Bo Richter. He thinks Bo Richter's gonna have a great season. What do you think of guys like that we kind of liked as undrafted free agents? Do you think they're gonna, are they gonna have a tough time making the team? Because this is a pretty stacked team.
That's really interesting, Don. And one thing to look at in terms of if you're trying to read some tea leaves and make a bold prediction on someone who's going to have a big season the following year that you may not have expected, look at their special team play the previous year. If they're a stud on special teams, it's kind of a venue or a pathway to performing on defense. So Bo Richter was a special team stud last year for the Vikings. He's very athletic. And now there's a pass rusher opening now that Patrick Jones is no longer on the team. So you look at your top four guys, it's Grenard, Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner, and there's probably Bo Richter, unless I'm missing somewhere. Dave, am I missing someone? I think Bo Richter might be that fourth guy.
Yeah, I'm looking.
And that fourth pass rusher will play 400 to 500 snaps. So he'll have an opportunity. I like where your head's at, Don.
They got Gabriel Murphy playing linebacker. Tyler Batty.
Oh, yeah. I like Gabe Murphy, too. It'll be a battle between those two guys. I think they both end up making it, though.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's an open spot, so might come down to who plays a better special teams. Shout out to Rock and Roll's dad for saving him in Colorado. Shout out to all the first responders in Texas for saving all those kids and adults in the flash floods in Texas. And I think it counts over like 140 people died, or it's probably even higher than that now. So it's just shout out to everybody involved with that. My prayers go out.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrible situation, especially with children. That many children involved is very sad.
Yeah. MVP on defense. And you can do a couple if you want.
Before we jump into that, I wanted to touch on something that you were talking about. You had said that to be spicy, you were thinking about the running back tandem being your MVP on offense. And in particular, I almost said Jordan Mason before I said TJ Hawkinson. And part of the reason in that is we talked about this, right? He's going to bring just a bully mentality to the run game. But do you follow Crack Rock on Twitter? Do you know who Crack Rock is? Okay.
Yes, I do.
It's at Crack Rock, CRAKROK. And this is like one of those accounts on Twitter who always calls shots about the Vikings, about hanging out with owners in the Vikings. And he always has the skinny. Exactly. And I tell you what, he's right a lot. So I follow him and he's a super cool guy. He tweeted, enjoying golfing this 4th of July weekend. I heard a juicy nugget for fans of Skull. There is a new full-time goal line back, and his name is Jordan Mason, the Vulture. Aaron Jones is going to miss out on 10 touchdowns this season. Goal line package will be a new look for the Vikings. 100% checks out.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
100%. I think I think Jordan Mason is going to have a lot of opportunities. He's probably going to get 40% of the carries, all the goal line carries. So in terms of fantasy football, this is a guy who's going later in drafts. You can grab him and feel really good about that. What's up, Chevy? Welcome to the show. So let's jump into your question for me was the MVP on defense. I want to be spicy and say Dallas Turner. Is that too spicy?
Yeah.
That's really spicy.
Yeah, that is. That means he has to take over his starting spot probably.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna say Don again read my mind. I'm saying Jonathan Grenard, man. When we got this guy to take over for Daniil Hunter, we all kind of assumed that we downgraded. We saved some money, but we definitely downgraded. I don't think we downgraded. I think he brings everything that Daniil Hunter brought, and I've been just completely floored with the production that Jonathan Grenard has given us. And what a find by Kwesi and company to get this guy in free agency. You don't find those types of pass rushers in free agency for the dollar amount that we signed him to. So I like the pick for Jonathan Grenard. And we talked about the interior guys, and that's just going to open things up for him even more, give him more one-on-one opportunities to win quickly on the edge. So Jonathan Grenard's my pick.
I think that's a safe pick. And I agree with you. And I always will say it's because I think he's a better fit than what we had because of the 3-4 defense. So I like that. I like the fit. I'm gonna go say with Cashman because we only win when we have Cashman. So
That's true.
But Grenard definitely. I'm gonna just. I would say Grenard too. You said him already, but I'll add another name in there with Cashman. Just because I feel like he's all over the field and plays both the pass and the run, and he seemed like he was the rock on our defense when he was gone, we're in disarray a little bit. So I like Cashman to build off of last year. Hopefully, again, all these guys can stay healthy.
Bob, you're gonna have to tell us a little bit more about Turner getting scammed out of $250,000. I didn't hear about that. Do you know about that, Dave?
Dallas Turner?
Yeah, he must have had like some incentives or something, I guess, in his contract and missed him on his rookie year. I'm not sure how that worked.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how that would work. Yeah.
But Dallas Turner, we've talked about this. I think he's going to have a tremendous second year. His body is already transformed. He got jacked for this season. And again, another guy who's going to get a lot of one-on-ones. You can drop him back in coverage. You can drop Gink back in coverage. You never know who's going to be coming. I think those guys are just going to eat.
We had a bad baby quote here.
Oh, shoot. Dallas Turner lost $240K in a bank fraud scheme. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully that's insured.
It wasn't the Vikings screwing him over then. That's good.
You would think that's insured.
Yeah, you think was it FIC?
FDIC.
FTIC. There we go.
Yeah, that's a tough break.
Damn. That's crazy.
That's my bank too.
Yeah, Chase. Yeah. Bank of America. They're pretty good about fraud. So breakout player on defense. So I'm talking second year player or older.
You got to go with Dallas, dude. You got to. Who are the other candidates? Breakout player on defense.
Can I say one before you do?
Say one before I do.
Okay. Isaiah Rodgers.
Okay. I was going to go with the other safety.
Oh, yeah, that too. But shit.
Ooh, rock and roll's got a good one. Kind of broke out last
Theo
year.
Jackson, right? So those would be my three breakout and defense would be the three we just mentioned. So Theo Jackson, Isaiah Rodgers. Now, technically, he might not have broke out since he did make the Pro Bowl one year, but then he sat out a year. Then he was a backup, and then he went to the Super Bowl. But now with us, I just feel like he is going to break out and be that starter, lock down that second cornerback spot. So I feel like he's going to do it. But Dallas Turner, It would depend on how many snaps he gets, obviously, but Theo Jackson is going to get snaps, and he would be a really good candidate too for breakout player.
Every time Theo has played and we've had eyeballs on him, he's been good. Like, he hasn't been out on the field and been bad. Harrison Smith was just loving Theo Jackson when he was talking about him to the press. He went as far to say that the Titans were dumbasses, essentially, for letting him go. Seriously. I mean, Theo Jackson, I think, is going to be good. These guys in the comments, Don says Mekhi Blackman, awesome pick. Blackman was good as a rookie. He was legit good. For a rookie, he was an older rookie coming out, so he was experienced. Another guy that Brian Flores has identified. Amazing tackler. I think he only missed one tackle or something like that all year on defense. Tore his ACL the first play of training camp last year. He was all out last year. He's going to be ready to go for training camp this year. He's going to be competing for that cornerback 2 spot, or maybe even cornerback 3, the cornerback 2 in the nickel. He's going to be rotating in against Jeff Okudah, and then against Isaiah Rodgers, probably Brian Murphy. There's going to be like a rotation going on there, but Mekhi Blackman is a great name there. Don also brings up Redmond. Actually, as Rock and Roll brought that up. That guy is a defensive tackle. We need to go back and watch him a bit more. He was in the backfield quickly on several accounts, and PFF loved him.
And that's why I think he's going to get a lot of rotational play with the other veterans, and the fact that Harrison Phillips is going to not play 100 snaps a game anymore. It's just I feel like he's still in the mix. I do.
The whole chat loves Levi Drake Rodriguez. Everyone's on board for him. He's the guy with the endless motor. He needed some time to develop coming from a super small college, and I'm excited to watch him in training camp. He's going to be fun to watch, so we're rooting for him.
Yeah, I was more looking at guys that I feel like are got a good chance to start and play a lot. Blackman, I was a big on Blackman. I said when he was a rookie, I said he was going to be starting by the end of the year. I think he did start a few games. He just didn't get the opportunity. But then he obviously got hurt. But yeah, all great choices. All great choices.
There's no way Ivan Pace is in a contract year already, right? I feel like we just got him as an undrafted free agent like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but is it 3 years for and then like they're unrestricted or restricted?
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it'd be the same thing as Mattel. No, Metellus was a 6th round pick.
Aren't you a restricted? Yeah, you're a restricted free agent. It's not after 4 years. It might be 3. I think you might be right.
If you're a UDFA.
Daniel, are you sure about that? He's in a contract year already?
Yeah, we're not hip on it. We're not the rules channel here, so we're not sure.
About Ivan Pace, though, I actually think his snaps might go down a bit because it's very clear that his forte is run defense and blitzing first and second down. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to take him off on 3rd down and play Alex. Who's that linebacker we
Wilson?
Signed from Green Bay? Is it Alex Wilson? Is that his name? Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson. Dan says he can't remember. I think that Ivan Pace has 2 more years left. But
this would be his 3rd year.
Yeah, I think next year would be his contract year. Yeah. 9 more weeks until Monday night against the Bears. Do we have a guess of the outcome? Well, we already know the outcome. We're winning that game.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like you need to make an adjustments on your predictions based on the fact that Darrisaw is not going to start the season?
Well, we don't know that, though.
Oh.
So Alec Lewis said that it's a rosy expectation to think that Darrisaw could play week 1, but there's still a chance that he can play week 1. He is absolutely ahead of his recovery based on his milestones. So we'll see. I think that we can beat the Bears without Christian Darrisaw in Chicago. The Bears pass rush is the weakest part of their team. I'm not too concerned about them getting after us.
I'll take this. We were asked this on the show I did earlier today, and the guy Rap said like 260. I said like 200. I figured that we would start out running the ball, that he would scrape around 200 yards. And I don't think the Bears in this first game were going to just say, go win us the game, JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd only throw that much as if we're behind. I feel like we're going to run the ball a lot that first game. So that's the only reason why I'm not saying that. But yeah, if you get the goal line a lot and we throw the ball on the goal line, yeah, he could get, multiple touchdowns.
I think it's going to be more of a stat line of like 18 of 24 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. And Aaron Jones has 90 yards and a touchdown, and Mason has 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, it's going to be running the football, I think, week 1.
Yeah.
And the Bears' run defense is not great. So I think the Vikings are going to establish the run week 1.
How many times do we say that during the season? Like, oh, this team doesn't have a run defense, and they shut us down. It's like, oh my God, what's going on?
Right. But I mean, look at our interior offensive line for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Wait, I just got to think about what I said. I predicted McCarthy just now for 2 touchdowns, Mason for 2 touchdowns. So that's 28 points right there. Jones with a touchdown.
5 touchdowns.
Well, there you go. Final score 35.
And how many field goals? So it's a blowout. It's
35-17 Vikings.
48-17.
There you go.
Yeah.
You get
Everybody's
a touchdown.
getting a touchdown. Fucking Goldock is Oprah. You get a touchdown. You get 2 touchdowns. You touchdown. Everybody's getting a touchdown.
I will say, hold on, Bears down in a blowout. So that's from Dan. I will say that Soldier Field used to scare the shit out of me, and it hasn't in a long time now. I think we've gotten that monkey off our back. What's up, Vocal Vike?
Breakout player on offense.
Breakout player on offense. Okay. I'm going to say, and this is kind of interesting, we've already talked about the best player in football, Justin Jefferson. We talked about how TJ Hawkinson, in my opinion, is going to be a stud this year. I think that Jordan Addison will be suspended for the first 3 games. That's my guess going into the year. Jalen Nailor will step in as wide receiver 2 and look good. I think he will look good as wide receiver 2. And he's reshaped his body. He's added a lot of muscle, and he's in a contract year. We know that for sure, Daniel, that Jalen Nailor is in a contract year this year. And I think he's going to surprise, be a breakout player, at least for the first 3 weeks.
What's up, Vocal Vikes in the house? So I did make it breakout player to be second year and above. So like, having Donovan Jackson excluded. But I mean, you almost could say Will Fries, because he did only have like 5 games, and is that really a breakout? But I'm not going to say Will Fries. I definitely saying Jalen Nailor or Jordan Mason. Him getting to like 10 touchdowns a year, I would consider that a breakout player. Even 8, but yeah, he's just splitting time. If that guy can get to 10 touchdowns during a year, I'm gonna say breakout. Jalen Nailor is gonna require someone else to not play, and like you said, Jordan Addison suspension possibilities. So yeah, those are my 2 guys.
Bob's messing with us, right? He said Addison was arrested in Cali. They'll let him go. That's a joke, right? I feel like I would have seen that Schefter tweet.
Oh, they're just saying, but that's where he was arrested, wasn't it? Because he was in an airport in California.
You talking about the thing last summer that he got in trouble for?
Yeah, was that California?
It was in Cali. He was sleeping behind the wheel on an exit ramp off the highway. I don't think it was at an airport. I don't know.
As one does.
Yeah, as one does, of course. Of course. Yeah, that guy's got to grow up. No, crossing our fingers. Nothing so far this summer.
Yeah. Pope Bob getting the purple AJ McCarthy jersey.
But I just want to say real quick about my Jalen Nailor breakout prediction that I was just talking about. Remember, who was the best player in training camp last year? It was Nailor. It was Jalen Nailor. And Tristan Jackson also looked very damn good last training camp.
Yeah.
Naylor was very good this year. I do feel like he had a couple drops that stuck with us and
Yeah,
put a
everybody
bad
got
taste in
kind
our
of on his
mouth.
case, but I think
Yeah,
he got his chance back and he
yeah.
performed. So
And also the punt muff in Green Bay put a sour taste in our mouth too.
yeah. So yeah, he had those couple of things happen.
Let me ask you guys this in the chat as well. Do you guys foresee a scenario where Jordan Mason could just overtake Aaron Jones outright for the lead back of this team? Because I absolutely could see that. Excluding injury, just based on performance. That Jordan Mason is the better back. I
So
broke Dave, guys.
well, I thought you were asking the thing. I was waiting for like
No,
you to like
everybody.
start reading responses. So for me, yeah, you broke me. So Aaron Jones is a complete back kind of, except for he does short yardage isn't necessarily his thing. But did you hear what they talked about on his when he got 98th best player in the NFL or something like that? The type of player he is, he just means more to the team than just playing. But the fact
Right.
that I think it was God, we just lost him. He was our safety.
Can't bind him.
Can't bind him. Was like that was his NFL welcome to the NFL moment of getting stiff armed in the face by Aaron Jones. I could I can't see him taking him over. I just feel like Aaron Jones is going to get more more snaps because of third down. So that's why I don't think he's going to take over. Not that Jordan Mason's not capable of it, but they just raved about his hands in that video.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that that's the kind of thing that O'Connell's going to like, and yeah, they're going to peel back. He had the most carries he ever had in his entire career last year, so I think they'll peel that back, but. He honestly may get more catches this year. So yeah, I don't think it'll take him over. Could he? Yeah, sure. Is he the better, ground and pound running back? Yeah, I think we might go to him late in the game and just run with him. I think that's probably if we're ahead, we'll lean on him.
Yeah, the chat agrees with you that Aaron Jones is the RB1 on this team. They don't see Jordan Mason taking over his spot. So I think that's all fair. I
Well,
just
they
wanted
know
to
I
ask.
spit gold. All I do is spit gold. So they know.
I agree with what you were saying, though, where it's like we may see more of him at the end of games when we're winning and just rest Aaron Jones because you don't need him per se at that time in the game. So that makes sense.
But it'll be similar, like where they sit him down for a series,
Yeah. Rock and roll. Who is RB3? I'm going to say guy who is not yet on the roster. That's my vote.
Um, I mean, Ty Chandler's there, so
I just don't think he's going to
they
make the
liked him at
team
one time, and he
yeah,
is the kick returner.
for now.
Yeah,
Bolden's a wide receiver, though, Don. It says Bolden RB3. I mean, could
we're
they
fighting
move
over that.
him? Could they move him to RB3? I don't think he's big enough to be a running back. He's like 170 pounds.
They got ESPN's got Ty Chandler and then Xavier Scott.
Dan says that Ty can't block. The issue is he can't block, but he also doesn't know the plays. He ran the wrong direction a couple times. He's fumbled a couple times. Every time he gets a chance, I feel like he does something to screw it up, and KOC is just pulls the plug.
I think, and honestly, I think he's kind of momentum back. When he played well, it's because we had to go to him. He was our number one that week, and he got 20 carries. He's not going to ever get that on this team now, and so if he does get a carry, I think he's a momentum. He builds off the multiple carries. He doesn't seem to do well coming in spots,
Yeah.
and but that's almost what I want. A third back is that, hey, can he come in and play a whole game? And he's shown he can do it. He's shown he can do it because he's had 100-yard games before, as the starter. So he's got the inside track on the third running back position. But
Mm-hmm.
again, this might be the last year we see him.
Oh, RB3 is so obvious. I cannot believe we all missed this. We're going to trade for that running back for the third consecutive year. He went to the Saints. What's his name? Cam something.
Cam Akers.
Cam Akers. We're trading for
So
Cam Akers,
we're
RB3.
We're trading a pick to be named later.
Late round pick swap for Cam Akers. Bring him back.
That's what we're going to do. Cam Akers. And I like him. Cam Akers. Dave Meggett.
Do you know that reference? Because I do. I'm just wondering if you know.
New York Giants running back. I used to play with them in like fucking all the NFL games I had.
I thought it was a reference to the running back played by Nelly in by the Mean Machine in The Longest Yard. That's what I thought. Dave Meggett. That's what I thought.
No,
Dave
this
Meggett
is before
was.
you were born, probably.
Gotcha. I remember
this is like RBI. This is like Tecmo Bowl. I think he was the other back on the Tecmo Bowl team.
You've seen The Longest Yard, right? With Adam Sandler. Have you seen the newer one?
Just once, though.
The announcer, I think it was Al Michaels, maybe, says, "Look at that little Meggett run."
He was Jesus, as a punt returner.
That's crazy to think that.
He might have played for Chicago. I just know he was wasn't he a? I thought he was a Giant. Dave Meggett. Okay, now I gotta.
Look it up.
I'm Yahooing. I'm not Googling. For some reason, my thing goes straight to Yahoo. Dave Meggett.
It says Jets, Patriots, Giants.
Yeah, Giants 89. So yeah, that was Tecmo Bowl days. Super Tecmo Bowl. He wasn't their number one back. I forget the other guy.
Dave Meggett was a third down running back for the Giants. He was like 160 pounds. Wow, he was small. You got any more questions for me, Dave? Anything else in the chamber?
No, those were the only questions.
Got it. We'll open up the chat. Any questions you guys can think of? It's kind of, the slow season where it's ranking season everywhere.
So he's saying we got a speed now, Fell, and we don't need Chandler. Well, they play different positions.
Again, yeah, Felton's a wide receiver. But I think he's referring to kickoff return. Yeah. He's saying you can afford to lose Chandler in the kickoff return.
Yeah, game. You could, but then who's our third running back?
Yeah, outside higher.
We used to keep 4 at one time. Well, again, we still have our fullback. It's weird, such a team that's so pass orientated carries a fullback. That's what, 33 years old.
Bring back AP.
Yeah. Now I feel bad for AP. He had that guy pinned against the wall and they cut off the video, but he was getting it pretty good from that guy
at the poker tournament.
Yeah, but I was like, God, AP's just kind of throwing him around a little bit as a ragdoll against the wall, but he was taking punches. But again, he did that celebrity boxing match and lost against I forget that other running back's name. I used to play for the Jets, I think.
Yeah, I remember that fight.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
I just knew how
he lost.
I just knew
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
it was Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell. And I was like, I think I figured I would take Le'Veon Bell because I was like, I mean, Adrian Peterson couldn't block to save his life, so I was like, yeah, he might. I don't think he does not use his hands to block people. I don't know if he can punch anybody. So,
does Rondale Moore make the team? Delton asked, and I'm going to say, kind of. I think he starts on the PUP, which is a free stash for the player, and then. The question is, does he make the team after that 6-week period? And I'd say, I think so. I think they find a spot for him. He has return ability, and he has just lightning bug type ability to be that wide receiver screen type guy.
And he can start out in the DL, right? And then by then we might need somebody. Position might open up. Well, Dave, we're not allowed. Daniel Faw, we're not allowed to have blowout games. We're Minnesota Vikings. But I think on occasion we will. Do
I think the answer is yes.
I?
This defense is going to be very good. The
Yeah.
offense is going to be have the potential to be very good. And if JJ McCarthy is just feeling it one game, they'll blow somebody out.
As long as our defensive coordinator does not take his foot off the gas, the way I feel like he has on a
Yeah.
couple of games where we should have blown the team out.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
Yeah, like
letting
the
and Mike
Packers.
Zimmer did that shit too. I'm like, dude, you're known as this aggressive defensive coordinator, and you are literally not rushing anybody.
Yep.
Like there were times when our current defensive coordinator rushed one person.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know, man. He's got to stop that. He's got to play football. You got to go with the defense that brought you. You know, that's why I look at that.
I think both Packer games he let them back into the game, quote unquote. They never had the ball with the chance to take the lead in either game, but they should have been blowouts. To your point, and to your point, they're rushing 3 guys the end of those games when Jordan Love has been an ass the entire game up until that point. And you're just letting him sit back there and take the easy stuff and move down the field. It sucks, like we want to see a blowout, but at the same time, I will say devil's advocate, maybe that keeps his guys healthier, playing that style and just bleeding clock and letting them slowly get down and giving up some scores.
I'm like,
I don't know.
Rotate people, but still play the same defense, damn it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
That sounds fair to me.
I look at it. I always have something to complain about, and it's usually on the defensive side when we stop attacking, and that just bothers me. And I was the same way with offense because it felt like we didn't actually turn on the jets until the end of games, like when we went no huddle and shit like that. And I'm like, God, we need to do that. And when McCarthy came here, not McCarthy, O'Connell came here, we did do that. We started opening up throughout the game, or we did, end a half with like no huddle or something like that. So yeah, those are my biggest complaints about defenses or offenses is we don't mix it up on offense, and on defense we take our foot off the gas.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I've never been mad at trying to finish a team off early. Yeah, I mean, we have the biggest comeback in NFL history.
Yeah,
I don't think all I was hoping for is to show some fight left. Show that we weren't going to give up. And holy crap, did we beat Indianapolis that game? It was ridiculous. Will that ever happen again? That is crazy.
That's a really big deficit, dude. That one's going to last
33-0.
Yeah, that's going to.
And
they
scored the second half.
Yep.
And I think we were down by. I think there was 17 minutes left, and we were down by 4 touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, it was crazy. Oh, and they had 2 touchdowns called back, and then a pick at the end of the game. That
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
Jalen Reagor stopped on his route.
Stopped on the route.
Yep.
So, God, we could have scored more.
Judd Zolgad has never left a game early, and he left that game early, and the Vikings came back to win. And that was a really fun episode of Purple Daily because they usually do their post-game show, the vent line, for pissed off Vikings fans at that point to join the show and just kind of get that out, let off some steam. And so they're live throughout the entire second half while the Vikings are making the comeback. And when they finally pull it off, Judd is speechless because he cannot believe that he left that football game and he missed history. That'll always be funny to me.
Coach that refuses to run the ball with the lead, run clock out, puts a little pressure on the defense.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Bass. Talking about the Packers game, I think it was the game that we were playing the Packers in Minnesota. We were up like 3 scores, and Sam Darnold throws an interception to the left side of the field when we don't need to be throwing the football in that situation, like at all. And so there are times where KOC has become way too pass happy, but we've wondered out loud how much of that is because the interior offensive line sucked and he couldn't run the football. The only running scheme that worked for the Vikings the last couple of years has been outside zone because we have great tackles. And then we have who's the tight end too that we just signed? Josh Oliver. That's our plus on the offensive line. Now, hopefully, we can run some more inside zone and play some bully ball.
Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I know we had some newer people on that haven't been on our channel before, so I appreciate that. Get more Skull Doc. Can't get enough of him. He may save your life someday.
May save your foot.
At least your foot.
Yeah.
Might have to give you a call when my right ankle gets out again. Yeah. Yeah, I actually went back and watched that after the game was over because I was watching my kid playing soccer, and I was a dad over by himself, not paying attention to any kids, jumping around on my phone watching the game. And I went back and seen what the reaction was and saw that they started the vent line at halftime, and I was there when Judge showed up. Or I saw when Judge showed up, and yeah, it was almost bittersweet for him, not Judd, but for the other gentleman on the show.
Like they were joking throughout the game, like Judd, if they come back and you left early, and then it happened, and Judd was just speechless. That's a good episode.
I mean, I had friends there. I had a co-host that decided he brought his daughter there, and it was that game.
Yeah,
and,
because that's the ticket you buy.
Stay because he brought his daughter to the game. It's like, okay, I'm gonna stay the whole game. What's his name? Eckhart from Germany. That was his first game he ever went to see.
Oh yeah.
What's his name asked him if he wanted to leave. He said, no, I'll stay. And they stayed and watched the whole game, and he got to see the biggest comeback. His first NFL game, got to see the biggest comeback in NFL history.
I can't think of his name, but he's a super cool guy. I like that guy a lot.
Eckhart, right?
Yeah, I forget his first name.
Like Snow.
Yeah.
Where he was. I don't know. He'd been on my channel like 3 times.
Speaking of Purple Daily a lot this episode, congratulations to Declan, going to be a dad.
Oh, wow.
Good for him.
Grown up. Gets facial hair and has a kid. And wow.
Got married, going to have a kid now. Good for him. Adulting. We got a question from Skull Barber here. How do y'all think KOC play calling will be this season with this new O-line? I think, personally, that he's still going to be a pass-first guy. However, there will be situations where he's more apt to lean on the run, mainly in the red zone and 3rd and short, 4th and short situations.
We've all kind of complained about his 3rd down or 4th down play calling in short yardage situations. There's no doubt about that. But I feel like with the threat of the run, the play action is going to be so much better. I think that was a visible strong suit of JJ McCarthy in college. And I thought it was pretty good with Darnold too. He seemed like he had a really good play action. And Cousins was, Tom Brady said was the best at it. So we've had pretty good experiences with that, just not as good a running game as we wanted to make it more effective. And that's what I saw in the last show we did, that JJ McCarthy we're going to throw it down the field in spots because of the effective run game, because of the play action, I feel.
The German guy, his name is Yannick, by the way.
Yannick Eckhart.
Yannick, yep.
I think. Yeah.
Another thing that our running game hasn't been great at lately is getting 20-plus yard runs, getting that explosive run. That should improve as well with the offensive line that we have. As athletic as Donovan Jackson is at left guard, Christian Darrisaw at left tackle, Will Fries and Brian O'Neill on the right side, we should pop off some long ones this year.
These are physically strong dudes too, because Jackson. And that's the one thing that in draft picks in the past is we always had like a worry of whether or not they were physically strong enough yet in the NFL that they would take some time and then ultimately would fail. That's not Donovan Jackson's knock on. him at all. He's not a weak player. He's a strong player. Darisaw, strong player coming out. Everybody else we drafted, there were questions, but Darisaw and him, I think, were the two guys on our line. I don't know about Kelly or Fries coming out of college, but those two guys definitely. No, I think Kelly he didn't have a knock on that either. He was a strong guy coming out of college too. When I looked at his draft um, his draft status card that the NFL puts out. So yeah, I feel like running the ball is gonna definitely be effective, and especially with our tight end back in the fold. We got a fullback. We're gonna be very. I always wanted to just be very creative. That first year, that was my biggest knock on O'Connell, was that he wasn't creative enough on running the ball, and I thought he got better through the years. So this is his year. This is the year he shows us.
Yep, you have the pieces now, so make it work. And that kind of goes into what Daniel just said. You spent all that money on the offensive line. It's got to be top 10. The only thing really that's going to stop it is injury. So we need the guys to stay healthy.
Yeah, and all these guys are coming off injury.
Yep.
Except for at some point.
That's all right. Humans heal. Well,
what do you got?
I got nothing else, man. That was a good show. We made an hour in the dead period of the NFL. Great talking points brought on by our chat today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and for asking some really good questions.
And not a bad job by the producer either.
Yeah, man. Good job. And your voice made it the whole time.
My throat is like freaking gravel, like glass right now.
I'm proud of you.
Swallow.
Now you're gonna have to find out a way to make it happen again next week. I guess we'll have the quarterback show to talk about next week. Let's watch some of that show and see if there's something to talk about.
Yeah. Who was in it?
Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff. Okay. Which kind of sucks. We do have to watch Goff beat the Vikings twice. That blows.
And I saw Joe Burrow, man. I saw a clip of him of just bitching about his team, or they won the game.
Yeah. That's after the Titans game when they played like dog shit and they won the game, and he's chirping on his way to the sideline that they sucked. I love that, dude. That's competitive nature. Like, that's fine. Demand a higher standard. I'm not happy if we beat a shitty team, like playing like garbage. We got to be better, man. We're trying to win a Super Bowl.
Did they? Nope.
Well, not his fault. The damn defense was led by guys that are worse than me and you out there. Come on.
But you gotta. There's I gotta be in context, so I gotta go watch it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Great show. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for coming out. We will see you guys next Tuesday night. Same time, 8:45 p.m. We'll get it rocking and rolling. And Skol, guys. We'll see you next week.